Hello and welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP UI5 and Fiori Advanced Training with Fiori Security and Launchpad. In our last session, we talked about creating our first business user named as Alex. Alex just joined the company and he would like to become a sales representative in the company, and we've seen how to create a brand new role for this user Alex in the system. We also talked about how exactly the security works in general with respect to the Fury system. And now what we do is we will first talk about some of the other important topics before getting into the admin role. So let's talk about first a very confusing term. I've received a question from one of you on the email regarding a difference between authentication and authorization. This is a very important question, and many people with 7 to 8 years of experience, even in security, cannot answer this correctly. What's the fundamental difference between authentication and authorization? So let's try to write down these two English words together. So if you see the auth and the auth, both auth, what you see here is common, but after auth, you see E and O. So which vowel comes before each other? Anybody? Does E come before O or does O come before E in the vowel list? Anyone?
E.
E comes before A, E, I, O, U, right? So E comes before the O, which means authentication will always come before authorizations. But that's how you should not define authentication. The authentication means, does user allowed to access system at all? That is what we call authentication. Authentication means who is allowed to access the system. Means does user have valid credentials, username and password to access the system. So that is what authentication means, which means if I am first authenticated, only then I can be authorized. I take a practical example. In real life, you joined a new company. When you go to the company office, you will be given a ID card. Those who don't have that ID card will not be allowed to enter inside company premises at all. So you will not be able to even go to the work area where you have to sit and work. So that is that ID card which you hold, your company ID card with the access card, is your authentication token through which you authenticate. After you authenticate, then the authorization comes into picture. So authorization means once the user connects to the system, what is that user allowed to access or execute
Unmuted.
in the system? So that is what authorization means. Authorization controls what is that user can do after entering inside the system. Can user access everything? Can user also access sensitive data of your company? For example, there is a big department in a company, HR department. There is a new joinee, just joined the company. Can she go and check salary of CEO? Perhaps not. However, there is a senior HR working since last 20 years in the same company at a very high level. Then that person or that HR, she can access the salary of CEO of the company, right? So some part of the data, though you are allowed to enter, you can't access everything. Same case in real time, if you go inside your company through your ID card, there are certain restricted area like server room or a board room, right? You can't access those critical piece or critical rooms in your company. Within your company, there are further restricted areas you can't go into. That is your authorization. Means you are not authorized to enter inside those rooms. Similarly, in a SAP system, if you just go inside the system, you can log in, you are authenticated. But after that, what is that you can do is authorization. Like yesterday, when we created a new user, Alex was able to log in, but Alex was not authorized to access the launchpad. And then we granted role to Alex, to access FLP, Fiori Launchpad. So that is the main difference between authorization and authentication. This is an interview question, and even many people with good experience in security can't answer sometimes this nicely. So remember, these two are very important definitions. Now let's move on to the next part. There was another question which I've received on the email. Anubhav, where can I see the documentation? What study material and documentation you recommend? Also, SAP keeps changing security concepts on regular basis in S4 HANA. How can I stay up to date with latest updated security content? What has changed or newly come? How can I do this? Like in SAP S4 HANA 2020, there are large number of changes. Fiori Launchpad Designer, though we can use it still, but SAP claim that it will be retiring. It will go away permanently. They will delete Fiori Launchpad Designer in coming months, in coming releases. They have already announced a deprecation of Launchpad Designer. Okay, though I will show you in this class, in this course, Launchpad Designer, because some of you are still on old version. But with latest S4 HANA 2020, SAP is clearly giving a guidance to to deprecate and remove the Launchpad permanently, Launchpad Designer, sorry, permanently in future. So there is a new concept called SAP App Manager. And what is App Manager? How does it work? Now there are new concepts like page templates, space templates. What are all these concepts? How can I stay up to date? Very good question. So there are two most recommended things I would want you to refer. Both are free and available online on internet for free. So first is help documentation on Fiori security. All what I'm covering in this training is my source of learning is this help documentation. This is my secret, I'm telling you. So anybody can go and learn. If you don't wanted to come to the classes, you wanted to learn, do self learning, this is the place where you can go and learn. This is the place where I go and learn. Okay, so let me just show you. We have to go to help.sap.com/s4hana, enter. It will take you to the S4 HANA product page. And from here, we go to use section, and then we go to product assistance English. So that will open the help portal for SAP S4 HANA. Now, this is a broad umbrella about entire S4 HANA. Now, if you look at enterprise technology, you will see a new section called SAP Fiori. Under this section, if you go and check Fiori Launchpad, I click on it, and that will take you to a separate page altogether for Fiori Launchpad. This is the central place where I learn everything on Fiori security. It explains clearly what is Launchpad, how it looks like, what you want to learn today in Launchpad. You want to learn administration, user guide, developer guide, troubleshooting, security aspect, what's new. So what's new? When you go, you will get to know what is new, what is updated, what is coming new features in SAP S4HANA for Fiori Launchpad and Fiori security. So this is how you can stay up to date. So you see, we talked about initial setup, right? The interop service, the service related to deployment options, central hub. Yes, this is where you can see embedded deployment, central hub. So even you are making material for corporate training. Some of you will go and give corporate trainings. If you're making material, you can use this study guide actually to create corporate training material. You see, initial setup, central hub, setup activities, what you need to activate, what you need to deactivate, how to establish connection between front and back. And remember the RFC creation, manage RFC destination, creating system alias. Yes, all of it is well maintained here, step by step. Of course, a very big document. Yes, it will take a lot of time. You can configure almost everything. And now you can see a PDF option here. You can download the PDF also in your computer. If you are on lower version of S4 HANA, you can also change here the versions. So that way, this documentation is very powerful and very supportive for you to learn everything or anything on S4 HANA, Fury security or in general for S4 HANA. So let me give you both the links. First is the S4 HANA homepage. This is a trusted material because it's directly from SAP. Then comes is the manage RFC destination, manage launchpad. That's a central launchpad page. Then that's the first part. Now goes to the second part. And here we go on the second part and see where can we see the documentation directly within the system. So you can go to another transaction code. Let me add the transaction code again in the important T codes so that we will never miss them. I right click and add a new transaction code. It's called slash UI2 slash cust. This is the product documentation. I add this customizing for UI technologies. I go inside. Let me add also this T code in here and I will go back. So now you see there's SAP Fiori. If I expand SAP Fiori, you will see initial setup for Fiori and you see all the documentation here. Yes, you can see standalone configuration, standalone hub scenario, embedded scenario hub configuration. I go inside, click on this and you see it opens up the documentation here. It also redirects you to the other documentation option. You see the recommendation for embedded deployment. This is the document you can copy, come back and paste. And now it will take you to another help documentation where it will show you the recommendation for deployment for Fiori front-end server. Yes. So lot of documentation is there from SAP side. You can learn. It's an infinite learning path you can go into actually. Huge. It's huge. It's an ocean. Every document will lead to further documentation and you can read almost everything whatever you want. See, manage RFC destination. Step by step guide is there. If you open, you see the steps how to maintain destination typically. Yes. So all the details define system alias, why we do that, system alias mapping, why do we do that? Yeah, every single detail is mentioned here when it comes to Fiori Launchpad and Fiori security in general for entire Fiori. You can see the documentation, complete documentation over here. Yes, we will learn about rapid application deployment later on. I will also explain you that time what is it all about, why do some of your friends in this batch were specifically asking for this. You'll understand the purpose first and then we will go and learn about it. So everything is here. So this is how I learned. If you talk about new features of Fiori Launchpad, you can see we have got new features like Launchpad Spaces. You see spaces and pages. We have Page Composer, Space Manager in the Launchpad now. So that's a new feature. So a lot of new features. What comes, it will be updated always in this product documentation into the system, and you can also execute a step by step each and every step here in the documentation. So that's about a very important couple of questions which people asked me, and I think it makes sense to discuss these doubts in the class so that everybody will take benefit out of it. Of course, it's if it is sometime one-to-one doubt or maybe not a good doubt, then it doesn't make sense to discuss, but something more meaningful for everyone, it will be very helpful. This is my source of learning. So you can see if I can learn from these sources, anyone can also learn by going through this documentation. It's all free. Okay, moving in next. So till yesterday's session, we learned about creating a LX user. So LX was a business user who joined the company. Yeah. But apart from LX, you would also, as a security consultant, need to create users for your team members who are going to work as a Fiori administrator, Fiori security. Let me take you back a little bit to the previous slide number 41, which is very important. And you see there is a person called Fiori admin. Yes. What is the roles and duty of this person? This person's main job is to activate standard Fiori apps. Now, to be able to do that, you must call yourself a Fiori admin. So what is that somebody would need to activate standard Fiori apps? What permissions do you need to design the launchpad itself? So you saw a launchpad in the system, right? We had a launchpad in the system. Let me open the launchpad with my user first. Just log in. Yeah, so you see launchpad, but how did this launchpad work? How it came? Somebody have designed it actually. Yes, and to design a launchpad, design the styles, they didn't come from magic. Somebody designed them. We saw in our previous training, UI5 Fiori training towards the end, the launchpad basics, the entire flow. I didn't explain things much in detail. This course, we will go deeper dive more on these concepts. But first, to begin as a launchpad designer in a new system, you also need to create a role. And that role will be created by basis person. So a basis consultant will now create another more powerful role for Fiori administrator or Fiori security consultants. This role will be you will grant to yourself because you will work as a consultant to design the launchpad. A Fiori security consultant needs that. Okay. So till now it was just the business user, but now if you want to do launchpad designing and stuff, you would need also a user for yourself. So let me start once again with user persona for a Fiori security developer or Fiori security expert who call a Fiori security or Fiori administrator. So we will also take a user persona here. So let's understand, like Alex, we have now another person. Let me just go and get an avatar developer. Yes, I'll just get a character. So let's get this guy. Looks okay. And now let's place that here. So this is our Fiori security consultant. Let's name this person as Kim Can. So Kim is a Fiori security expert. Now, what is the main duty of Kim? Kim's job is to design the launchpad to activate standard Fiori apps, which is given by SAP. But to do his job in the company, he would also need a role without which he can't do anything, right? So Kim has a user. Let's create a user for Kim first of all. Or let me use an existing user which I have, guys. We have created a new user called B user. Let's call this as B user. Just give me a second. Let me start SU01 to show you that. Yeah, I'll go inside. So now I'm going to create a user called B user. Yes. So this is a new user which is created in the system. And let me create one. So I just create a fresh user called B user, Mr. Kim Can. Yes. So this is what this user is. I will save it. He just joined the company. Let's set up an initial password. Yes. And now I will log in as this B user. So this is the user for Kim Can as B user. And I will log in. Yes, I logged in. So now I logged in as a user called B user who is Kim Can. Now, Kim Can would like to design the launchpad. To do his duty, the first thing he need is launchpad designer T code access. So if I launch you for Kim Can, let me launch for Kim Can the launchpad designer. So launchpad designer is the transaction or the place where you will design the launchpad itself. So one you saw was launchpad. So your Alex will use the launchpad for his work. But who will design that launchpad? Kim Can will design that launchpad. And the user for Kim Can is B user in SAP server. So how will this person design the launchpad? So to be able to do that, he would need a access to transaction called launchpad designer. So in order to enable our SAP security consultants to access Fiori launchpad designer, we need following authorization. So first authorization is the transaction code. It's called slash and slash UI2 slash FLPD conf and slash n slash UI2 slash FLPD cust. Now, why there are two of them, cust and conf, I'll explain you the difference later on. But right now, understand this is the first authorization. So if I go as Kim Can, as the user. So this is B user, is the user of KimCAN. And if I try to access UI2/FLPD conf, enter, the Launchpad designer will start. So let me log in with his user as Launchpad designer into another window with the password B user. I log in as B user. And now let's see what happens. So this is called Launchpad Designer. Let me also put the URL of the Launchpad Designer out there for you in the slides. The URL is your HTTP, whatever, hostname, port number, slash this URL, guys, is the URL for Launchpad Designer. Okay. So this is the URL for Launchpad Designer. In your company system, this will be also the URL. So you see, this is the URL which remains common. And then you see scope equal to conf. So you see there are two T codes, conf and cust. When I choose conf, this scope parameter value will become conf. If I put cust, then this parameter value will become cust. The reason for that I'll explain you later. Why do we need cust and conf? Okay, so that's the first part. Now if you see, just now this user joined the company, Alex also joined the company, and Alex got now an error on the Launchpad Designer. If you notice carefully, there is a problem with a service called Page Builder Conf service. Yesterday we saw a service called Page Builder Cust service, and we activated that service, and then it started working for Alex. Similarly, we need now certain number of services which is used by this Launchpad Designer. Remember, there is a designer and there is a Launchpad. There are two different things. You need to be very careful and difference between. So a Launchpad Designer will be used by a Fiori security consultant. To do what? What do we do? Do we design game using this? Do you design Subway Surfer, PUBG using this? No. What do you design with this? It's a designer. What do you design? You will design a launch pad using the designer. Yeah. So इससे क्या डिजाइन होगा? लॉन्च पैड डिजाइनर क्या डिजाइन करेगा? लॉन्च पैड डिजाइन करेगा. Who will use this launch pad? Who will use this launch pad? It will be used by business users. When people join your company, yes, they will use this launchpad like Alex. So in our use case, Alex is a business user, sales representative who joined the company, and that person will use the launchpad. And Kim Can, who is the Fiori security consultant, who will design this launchpad. But to design this, you need launchpad designer. Launchpad designer से launchpad design होता है. Now, what does the Launchpad Designer contain? What it allows you to design? It allows you to design two sections. First section is called catalog, and second is called groups. Groups. So what is a catalog and a group? Remember, a Launchpad consists of how a Launchpad looks like. Let me go back to my Launchpad again. So you can see this is how a Launchpad looks like. So it will be more clear for you if I put this. So Launchpad में क्या होता है? Tiles होता है. Launchpad includes a lot of tiles. So if I go back there, just go back. So a launchpad will have like something like this. This is how it looks. So it'll have tiles. Users will access these apps using launchpad. But launchpad designer, if you see, we need tiles, and these tiles are created using designer. So launchpad designer is essentially used to create tiles. समझ में आया क्या बच्चों? What is launchpad will do eventually? It will create tile. But how easy it is to create a tile? Is it so easy to create a tile? No. Why? Because a tile needs lot of different properties. It will need the title, it will need the subtitle, it will need icon, it will need the information about which application to open when you click on this tile. And if you notice, these tiles are grouped. Did you notice that these tiles are grouped? Yeah. Do you see a group? Yes or no? Do you see all these three tiles is one group under a query design? Yes. Do you see that? Yes or no? Everyone. Yes or no? Yes. Now this tile is inside another group. कौन सा group में है? इसमें है. Analysis path framework group. These two tiles below are inside another group. Are you understanding, everybody? The tiles are also part of a group. So we have different groups to which these tiles are belonging. Why do we need groups? Why do we need groups? Why do we need groups? Can't we put the tile without groups? Why? Anyone? Can you guess? Organize, exactly. To organize. In school days, my school used to do organization of children's. We had a lot of people, a lot of kids in the school. So they organize, right? We create different groups of students like section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. Why? To organize. So in S4HANA system, there are so many applications. In order to make these applications visually appealing and making them easily accessible for the user, we group them together. And that is what this group is. You can see group. So eventually you create tile, but you need the group to group those tiles. So a group will group the tile. But then what is a catalog? What is a catalog? So catalog is actually a place which contains the tiles. So it will contain lots of tiles. Out of these tiles, let's say you have 500 tiles, but if I dump the 500 tiles on the screen, it will not help user will get confused. Yes. So we then reference these tiles from the catalog and we organize them in the group. So basically the tiles eventually are part of catalog only. We put the tiles inside a catalog. Okay, we will put all the tiles inside a catalog only, but eventually what will happen? To group them, we bring them from catalog and we group them together in a groups. So a tile's persistency is inside the catalog. All the tiles are created inside the catalog. Yeah. And they are then drag dropped. They are reference. You see this arrow is a reference. You're creating a reference of these tiles inside groups. Multiple groups you will create. So sometimes will go, some tiles will from a catalog go to first group, some will go to second group, and so on. So the way you organize your tiles on the launchpad is called group. All the tiles are created inside a catalog. So catalog is a big group which is not visible to the user. It's another way of grouping. Why we need catalog based grouping? So we can group it according to our need as a developer. Like let's say all the finance area tiles are in one group. Yes, all the finance, all the HR are in another catalog. All the HR, all the materials management tiles are in another catalog. So catalog is a big group. This is where you will store the tiles. You will create the tiles eventually inside catalog. From the catalog, you will create different groups from the functional side, which business can understand. This is like a business level grouping. And then you drag drop the tiles from the catalog to the groups to organize them. That will eventually will display here. So you see this query design and this intelligent scenario now. What is this? Can anybody tell me? What is this query design? This query design, this thing here, this query design. What is this query design? This guy. What is it? What is this intelligent scenario? They are groups actually. Yes. Everybody clear? What is group? Yes. Everyone, what is group clear? Yes. Fantastic. Everyone clear what is catalog? Catalog is nothing but the a container which contains all the tiles. Okay. We will drag drop the tiles from the catalog and put them in the group. Now there is a catch. Be very careful here. There is a small catch. A small catch, guys. SAP S4HANA 2020, latest SAP S4HANA 2020 onwards, SAP introduced a new concept which replace the group concept. Okay, this group concept as of now it's there. Both you can use the new concept and old concept. The group is old concept to group the tiles, but this concept is starting 2020. SAP replaced it with another concept, and that is what we call pages and spaces. Okay, we will learn the new concept and old concept both in this training, because some of you are still on low version of S4 HANA, or some of you are still even not on S4 HANA. I still see 70 to 80% companies are not even on S4 HANA. Eventually, you all will come to S4 HANA. This training is going to help you both in S4 HANA and non S4 HANA also to become a Fiori security consultant. कोई आपको हिला नहीं पाएगा, मेरा वादा है आपसे. Nobody can touch you in your company after this training. कोई हिला नहीं पाएगा आपको, whether it is S4 HANA or not S4 HANA. You will become a undisputed champion in SAP security, SAP Fiori security. That is my promise to all of you. So, but you need to practice and you need to pay attention to the classes every day. Okay, so that is about S4 HANA 2020. Just remember this line. We will not right now not pay attention to this line, but just a small point I made here. Okay, a small point. I will show you this later, but just remember that group के अलावा भी एक चीज आई है जिसे हम कहते हैं pages and spaces. That's a new concept starting 2020. Okay, this was introduced in SAP S4 HANA. Since I luckily have in latest SAP S4HANA 2020 system, I can show you this concept. So in future, when your company go to 2020, you will easily grasp and easily do this in your company without anybody's help. Okay. So coming back to security administrator role. So first step is we need to give access to these two transaction code to our user. And you saw now when I access the Launchpad Designer, I get this error. So what could be the possible reason of this error? Anyone, would you like to tell yesterday's class? What could be the reasons why these errors comes? Anyone? There are three reasons.
Services not active.
Three reasons I explained in last class. Let me see who can answer.
No authorization for this particular user.
Yes, very good. First reason, if
Services
service
not
is not
active.
registered. Second reason, service is
Auditor
not
service
active.
is not active.
And third, what is the third reason? You are not authorized. Yes, very good. Let me go back to last class. Those who have not paid attention after the class, you will not be able to answer this question. But let me just go back and show you. In the last class, I told you troubleshooting. 3 steps. Service is not even registered. Service is registered but not active. You don't have authorization. Okay. So right now, let's go and check if this service is active. So first, let me tell you what services are required. Otherwise, one or the other problem will come. So following OData services required to access Fiori Launchpad Designer and its features. So इसके बिना आपका Launchpad चलेगा ही नहीं. Remember, your Launchpad Designer, it is not even going to work. Launchpad will work, Launchpad Designer will not work. Okay, remember, Launchpad Designer and Launchpad 2 are different things, similar names but different things. So Launchpad Designer will not even work if you don't have these three services active. The first service coming on your screen, UI2 slash page builder conf service. So this service loads all the available content. Now what is content? This is a new word for me. So guys, we just discussed about basics of group and catalog, right? This group and this catalog, इन दोनों को जब हम साथ मिला देते हैं, when we combine these two together, what do we call this? We call it content. इसे ही हम content कहते हैं. Everybody, are you clear what is content? What am I calling content? So when we combine the group and the catalog together, this is called content. So all the groups and all the catalogs in entire system is called content. Many times you will hear people, content is not there, content is not loaded, content is missing, content is not proper. If these terms you hear in your company nearby you from Fiori security people, which means there's a problem with the group or catalog. Okay, so right now if you see, our content is not loaded. ये देखो यहाँ पे कि कंटेंट लोड ही नहीं हुआ है. See, everything is grayed out. See, it's saying loading, it remains like this forever. Nothing works. Okay, nothing will work. It remains just like this. I can't do anything. Okay, I can't even do it. If I even try to create something now, it will not work. See, it will not work. So basically this is super important to understand, that to make the content work, this loads all the content. Okay, all the content from configuration layer. Now remember this word configuration layer. I'll explain you that in the next slide. What is configuration? I already told you. I'll tell you the difference between conf and cust. See, cust and conf. I'll tell you the difference in a second. Please allow me to complete. So configuration layer. So this is the service which will take care of loading content from the configuration layer. Then there is something called UI2 slash page builder cust. So this is the service which will load all the available content from customizing layer. Wow, Anubhav, very good, Anubhav. Awesome. That's the second service. Third service slash y2 slash transport service. Guys, you are always going to follow landscape, development, quality, production. So what you do is you develop content in development. You transport this to quality, and then it should go to production. So how do you transport your content? Suppose I want to update a custom Fiori app. I want to integrate a custom Fiori app with Launchpad. I would use Launchpad Designer. I will create a tile, new tile, my custom tile to open my Fiori app developed by my team, my development team. So to do that, we need to design a catalog, group. Eventually, what I'm saying is you need to design a content. This content needs to also work in quality in production. To be able to move the content from one system to another, you would need transport. And which service load the transfer information to the Launchpad is this service. So this service will be used by the Launchpad designer to read the transports from ABAP system. So when we design content in the Launchpad designer, it can be transported to the Q&P system. ये तीन सर्विस जक्कस चाहिए ही चाहिए अपन को. इन तीन सर्विस के बिना काम नहीं चलेगा. All these three services are mandatory. So first and foremost thing, you have to check if these services are activated, these are registered or not. After registration, you have to check if they're active. Third, you have to check if you have permission to access the service for your user. So let's follow this. Apart from that, what else do we need? Apart from that, you need to also insert following authorizations using auth template. So there's authorization template. I'll show you how it looks. IWFND underscore RT. RT means runtime admin. Then the second one is IWBEP slash. This will get a lot of authorization objects automatically. ADM. Then IWBEP underscore ET MGW ADM IWNGW slash RT. All of these I got from the documentation, WF admin and IWFND slash RT developer. These are the important authorization you need. Now remember, towards the last class I taught you that SAP making our life simple. So I don't want to do all this manually. SAP gives me a template role. So for this also, SAP provides a template role name for administrators, which you can use to speed up your admin role creation. Okay, so the role is SAP UI2 admin underscore 700. So yesterday I just showed manually creating the role, but today I will use this role, admin role, and make a copy and try to create a role for administrator. So let's first check if these services are ready or not. उसके बाद ही हम role बनाएंगे. First, we'll check if the services are registered and they are active. I take it, I go back, I go to transaction code /n main service transaction code, and then I will check if these services are registered already. I can do a filter and I can just put here service name called page star to search. So we just have page builder per service. We don't have page builder cust and page builder conf, not even registered. So let's register, go inside add. They will be registered locally always in the front end system. We put our first service conf, enter. It won't find. Why? Because this part should be removed. This is called namespace. Okay, so you should never put the namespace in the service name while searching it. Remove, enter, and now you see it's found. Select, you see this UI2 is the namespace. We should not put that in the name. You can ideally do a page star to see all of them. You can see both. I can select both together and I can activate them together. Add service. I will put a transport my package name. Okay, so Anubhav SOH, and I can click on OK. I will put it. Okay, this package is not there. It's Z Anubhav SOH active. That's a Z package. Yeah, and it'll ask me a transport request now to be able to edit, and you see both my services are now active. Fantastic. So they are registered and they are active. The next one was transport service. Let's search that. Here it is, UI2 transport. Add the service package, sorry, and okay. And asking transport request, okay. And now it will also register my service. And let's go back. And now we will see if all my services are there. There you go. Page builder conf and page builder cust, and you see this is active. This is a certification question. Which service do you need to make the launchpad designer work? Your options are page builder conf, page builder cust, and page builder purse. The correct answers are 2, which is conf and cust. 100% certification में आने वाला है guys this question. Which services are required for launchpad designer to work in SAP Fiori system? So it's cust and conf. Okay, now they are active also and they're registered also. Fantastic. It's time that we can build a role and assign that role to my user, which is Kim Can, the B user, the actual B user. This is the username. So let's go back and see. I can go to PFCG and now I'll first use SAP UI2 admin 700 role. I make a copy of it and I'll make a Z. So I can say I can use the name Z business role cross application admin FLP, something what I taught you yesterday, the naming convention which we follow for building roles in the company. You can also make certain naming convention for your convenience in your company accordingly. I click on copy, and once I will open my Z role in the change mode, you will see that it has got now automatically this services. You see interop service, transport service, launchpad service, confcust service. Yes, IWSV and IWSG अपने आप आ गया. Wow, I don't have to go back here like we did yesterday. Go here, click on this authorization default, click on this option, then search for the service. I don't have to do all that because it has got copied from the template role automatically. Wow. But what it did not copy is IWSG for interop and transport service. So that I still need to add. So let's add IWSG for interop and transport service. A transport service, I think that's the one. No, this is IWSV. I'm checking. IWSG is this one. Yeah. So just I have to go and search IWSG transport star FO. Just have to search interop. Yes, here it is. And then I have to choose star transport star FO. Sorry, I have to press FO and select this transport service. Yes, click copy, and now you see IWSG is there. Fantastic. Okay, by the way, now the service is
Anubhav,
active.
uh,
If I
yeah,
go back
sorry,
to my
sorry.
user,
Yeah, Anubhav, sorry to interrupt, but why the template is not having IWS G by default?
I
Because
don't know.
I said,
I'm not sure. SAP
because
didn't include it.
okay,
Yeah, I don't know the reason. Okay, coming back, let's see now. You see, when I load now the Launchpad Designer with my user, Kim Can, the B user, it will give me a different error. It says now not authorized. So now, last time it was saying a service error itself, but now it's saying different error. The error is now I don't have permission to actually open the service. So that's why we're building this role to now authorize the user. User is authenticated but not authorized. So we are building in a role to authorize our user. It has got also a lot of other things which system generates out of the box because it's a copy of the role. I can go inside now. I say, okay, generate the profile. And you can see this is the profile, and then there are profile values which are already added by the system. And now I can just go and change these profile values if I want. I can also go to the profile high level, the authorization object, and then I can edit and give a full access, a full authorization. So everything will turn green on a safer side. Yeah, and you can go to the detail level and you can grant the values accordingly, but I'm just right now adding full authorization for all the other authority objects which are part of these authorization classes. So it will make it easy for me to build the role and grant access to my administrator to be able to manage the content. Let's click on generate button and I go back. Yes, it's green. Fantastic. The profile is generated. The values are in. And now I'll grant it to my user. So let me put the user ID here. The user ID is B user. And I'll say user compare. Authorization as our profiles values are inserted to Kim Can. And now if I go back as Kim Can and refresh, the Launchpad Designer, I just refreshed the Launchpad Designer. You can see it says loading. Yes. And I can also investigate. I can do troubleshoot if I want, but it will take few seconds because there are so much of content. And voila, finally you can see, guys, it has loaded all the catalogs and groups. Fantastic. Is this clear, everybody in the room, how to build the role for the Launchpad Designer? The consultant, the Fiori security consultant, you will be the Fiori security consultant. तो आपको खुद के लिए ये रोल बनाना पड़ेगा, or you need to ask the basis person to build this role for you. Okay, to build this role for you. And now you can analyze all the catalogs and groups delivered by SAP. Basically, this is the content delivered by SAP. Whatever content SAP deliver, you can see. Now the beauty, guys, the beauty. So let's see. Now I log in as B user. So I'm the administrator, and using my user B user, I can do anything in the system to give access of apps to my business users like Alex. So when Alex log in, yesterday when we saw when Alex logged in, Alex was not able to see any tile. So if I want to give access to certain tile, I can search the tiles here now. So you see this catalog has 18 tiles. This catalog has 10 tiles. This has 4. This has 16. They are grouped by SAP according to the area, business area. Okay. Like sales related one catalog will be there. Uh, Payroll related one catalog will be there. Accounting related one catalog will be there. Finance related one catalog will be there. Yes, different purpose, different transport management, procurement, account payable, account receivable, account payable analytics. Yes, for different purpose, different catalogs will be there in the system. So even when you want to build a tile for your custom Fiori apps, you would need to also create a catalog first, and inside the catalog you will have the tiles. Yes, and from this this catalog, the tiles are picked up and they arranged in a group. So if you go to groups, you will see there are different groups you will find here. And these groups are the actual groups which are visible to the business users. Okay, these are the groups. So these are the tiles or the groups which are visible to the user. You see this group called advanced compliance reporting. This is a group name. So if I go back to my own launchpad which was working, so there was a group called analysis path framework modeling, or let me go to a group called let me just choose a group called sales related sales overview or sales order group. Yes, I go to sales order. You see manage sales order, track sales order fulfillment, sales order docs. Yeah, you see 5 tiles in this group, right? Sales order is the group name. If I go back and search this group sales order, and you can see sales order group, you see exact 5 tiles which you see there for the user. They are here. You see manage sales order, track sales order fulfillment, sales order docs. 5 टाइल इधर है, 5 ही यूजर को दिख रहा है. Are you clear, guys? A group groups the tiles together. How these tiles have come here? They have come from a catalog. So if I want to add a tile inside a group, it will open the catalogs. So you see it opened the catalogs, all these catalogs you see. From a catalog, the tile will be referenced into a group, and then eventually user will see this group. This is the group title, sales order. This title user will see here when the user run, and then they will see all the apps inside. So let's do one thing. Let's try now to assign this group, this sales order group only, alone this one, to our business user Alex. So now let me log in as Alex. So first of all, I log in as Alex. So let me log out from this system. Let me just log out from here. So I go to user, log out, and I will log in as Alex. Alex will not see any tile right now. Okay. So if I log out and let me log in again, Alex. Oh, I deleted Alex user yesterday. Let me create quickly. Just give me a second because I have to delete it. It is mandatory for me to delete. Otherwise they will audit and it'll create problem for me. So just give me a second. I am creating the Alex user. I just paused my screen. You will not see my screen moving. I'm creating Alex user again. Yes. And Alex user will have the role which we created yesterday. Z. Okay, I created the user Alex again. Let me re-share my screen. So this is the Alex user. I'm just searching for the role which we created yesterday. LPD star FO. There was this launchpad user role we created, right? So that I assigning to the LX user. Let me also log in. So this is our LX user. Let me log in with LX on launchpad. Password changed. Good. So LX logs in. LX will not see any tiles. Now I want to issue some access to the application related to sales. Alex is a sales representative. He's working in sales department of your company. So he would like to access sales related tiles. How do we give access to sales related tiles? So which app you want to give access? First of all, you need to search that app on Fiori app reference library. So let's search for SAP Fiori app reference library again. And here we will search which app you want to give access to Alex. Okay, so first you always start with the which app. You start either with app or the role. What is that person is, what is that person is doing in the company. So you know Alex is a sales representative. Yes, so you can always start from a role or you can start with the app name also. So I can now go to all the Fiori apps on S4HANA and now I can search by role or I can also search by app. There are different criteria. Yeah, sooner or later you will learn a lot of it, but let me search by app and I wanted to give access of, let's say, a app called sales order fulfillment. I'll search for that app. Here it is. Yes, Now I go to this app and see that this is for S4HANA. It's there for S4HANA. Fantastic. I can go to implementation information. And now I can see SAP will give me a predefined role. That is also part of content. So if I go to configuration, if I come down, I will know that there is a group. You see the group name. There is a catalog. There's a catalog, you see, and there is a role. This role is already built by SAP. You see, SAP is the prefix. Any role with prefix SAP means it's given by SAP out of the box. I can copy this role. I can show you quickly this role, what is there inside that role. /n pfcg. And if I open this role here in display mode to show you all here, let's display this role. I go to menu, you will see that it has lot of catalogs and groups. You see, BCG, business catalog group. It's a group, and you see it will have catalog also. See catalog. So this is the catalog. So it has a lot of catalog and groups inside. It's a role given by SAP. And now I can just simply go. We will learn also build this role. Right now, just understand the overview. So we will build this role later on, but I just wanted to sensitize that this is a content which is pre-delivered by SAP. So SAP provide a lot of catalogs, lot of groups, and they are clubbed together in a role. And once I grant this role to my user will get all the tiles. So if I go to the user, and if I now assign this, I change this and I assign it to my user LX. So come down. So it's already assigned to so many people, you see, in the system. I will now assign it to my user LX. Done. User compare, save, full compare, and just save. That's all. Watch out. Come back with user LX now and refresh. So yesterday's class we saw that LX had no authorization. Nothing was working for LX. I mean, first we made the launchpad work for LX, and now today, voila, you see, the moment I grant the permission of that SAP Git delivered role, I got my group sales order and I got all my apps for that sales. So LX can start doing his work now. He's a sales representative, and whatever a sales representative need, SAP built a role out of the box, which we checked from Fiori preference library. Grant this role to my user, and user can now see all the apps for his job. Bam. Wow. But the question is, if my manager don't want to give access of these many apps which SAP think they should, can I customize? And that's what we will learn in coming classes, how to customize roles, how to build our custom roles, how to build roles for our custom Fiori apps, how to tweak the roles, how to give access to different apps, how to build a tile, how to create a catalog, how to create a group ourselves. All of that we will start learning from the next class step by step. Okay, so let's summarize what we learned today. So we started with introduction of who is a Fiori security expert or Fiori security consultant or Fiori security administrator, what transactions and authorizations required to be able to become a Fiori security expert in the company, which are all the services and why these services are required. Of course, there is an open item difference between configuration and customizing. I'll take that tomorrow for sure. And then we talked about building a role from the template role given by SAP for administrator. We grant this role to our user, B user, who when access the application was able to load the Fiori Launchpad designer. The designer will hold all the available catalogs and groups. Catalogs are the places where the tiles are added and created. They are created usually per area. We have the groups. The groups contains the grouping of Fiori applications, Fiori tiles. These tiles are just reference from catalogs. So you can create a group with referencing tiles from multiple catalog, suitable for a person, suitable for business point of view for grouping. Then we learned if a new user is given the basic authorization to access Launchpad, how can the user be given authorization to be able to access the Fiori applications relevant for their own role. For that, we just took an example of sales representative. We found that there was an app called sales order fulfillment application, which was relevant for a sales representative. There was a role already given by SAP. we went inside that role and we granted that role access to my user, business user Alex. Eventually, the Alex, when they log into the Fiori Launchpad, was able to see all the Fiori apps inside. So that's the end of end-to-end tutorial of creating a role for the Launchpad administrator, for Fiori Launchpad administrator and designer administrator, and also granting basic standard role to the user. In next class, we will talk about how can we customize the Fiori Launchpad, how the groups are built, how the catalogs are built, how a tile is structured, what do you add inside a tile, why it is like that, how SAP deliver their content. Okay, how exactly SAP deliver their content, how they organize their content so you can understand their content and accordingly customize it. And then we will talk about rapid deployment as well in coming sessions. With that is a wrap on today's session. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Anubhav,
Hello, Anubhav.
Yes,
Anubhav,
one by one.
I have one question. Yeah, I have one question. My first question is that where do we develop now UI5 application? As earlier we used to develop in WebID. Now there is that you have, as per instructed, that the WebID is no more. So what about the earlier developed UI5 applications? How to grab them and how to configure them, and so that it is to be run in a locally in a new tooling? How all those procedures, how it should be migrated?
So we should migrate these apps to BAS, Business Application Studio. At the moment, I think this is a very advanced topic. Currently, we are in the phase of non-technical training or non-developer training. However, if there is a burning desire for you to do conversion of your application from Web IDE to the Business Application Studio to the BAS, then I will share a video with you. Please watch this video tonight, take this pill, and in the morning, the problem will be solved. So this is the video on YouTube, which will show you how to migrate your project from WebID to BAS. For introduction of the BAS, please check this introduction video on BAS.
Okay.
Currently, only that much I can help you as of now, because I don't want it to overdose my security consultants joining this training related to development at the moment.
Okay. Thank you.
Anubhav, I am having a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
We are on the Fiori Launchpad. We are having a personalization option for the user, right? User can add, remove the tiles based on their need. But where exactly their personalization is getting stored on Fiori? Like not on the browser cache, I think so. So where exactly it's get stored, and is there a way to overwrite it? Because let's say in future, if we want to push a new theme and they have selected their old theme, like maybe a blue crystal or blazel theme, but now we want them to migrate on the quartz theme, then how we can uh, override their personalization settings?
Okay, one question
Or is
to
it
you.
suggestible to override the personalization setting?
One question. In my computer, I have changed my my screen to a screen on my desktop. You can see my desktop wallpaper. This is my desktop wallpaper. Can you come and can you change this wallpaper of my system?
No,
Exactly.
no.
Personalization means it's my personal space. You can't touch it.
Okay. But then in that case, when we are upgrading, then on the latest theme, we cannot force the user to migrate to the latest theme of the Fury.
Yes, we can't. It's his personal space. If I upgrade my window 10 to window, let's say 12, 15, it's my choice to keep my wallpaper always same. This is the wallpaper perhaps I'm keeping since last 7 year. And last 7 year I've changed 20 windows already. I went to different operating systems on this system. No operating system company can force me to change this wallpaper. It's personalization, personal space.
And where exactly this get stored on the Fury system?
That I'm not sure.
The user specific.
I'm not sure
Okay.
about that. And I don't need to know that because it's not my area of functioning. Because I don't need to touch this and I never touch this. It's users' personal choice and personal options. And no upgrade should ideally touch this. If there is a change in the personalization options due after upgrade, it's considered as a bug because it disrupted the user's choice.
Okay. Okay.
You chose 5
Uh,
tiles to be kept on my home area. After upgrade, those 5 tiles disappeared. That's a bug.
yeah.
That's a bug.
But from theme perspective, at least like from the tile perspective, it is correct. He should be having his own personalization for the tiles. But from the theme perspective, at least there should be at least some push so that they
No,
should migrate to the latest theme.
we should not. We can inform that you can go to the launchpad. Ideally, you should educate your users. You can't force them. You should go and tell them, please go to user area, go to settings. There are new themes available. If you want, please switch to any theme you want. उनका
Okay.
मर्जी है ना, उनका चॉइस है. आप उनको educate कीजिए, educate them that dude, there's a new theme called Fiori dark theme, high contrast black theme. If they want, they can upgrade, they can change. It's their space, it's their area, it's their choice. We can't force them. They
But
can go.
just like groups, we are having a locking. We can lock a group so that user cannot modify his group. So can we lock the theme as well for a user? So that in case in
No,
future, if you want to,
we should not and we should never. But
okay.
there is a fallback setting you can configure, which is called launchpad parameter, which I'll show you in coming classes. You need to wait for the right class, where you can say system wide, this is the default theme which will be set for all the users if they don't choose personalization option. But इसको आप कभी
Okay.
touch नहीं करोगे क्योंकि वो उसका personal choice है. You can't change my simple example. I give this example if somebody even asks you this question. You can't change my computer's wallpaper. It's my choice. It's my personal space. You can't change my mobile phone icons of the home page. No operating
Yeah, but
system upgrade can change that.
from the corporate policy, ideally, like when we are using a company's laptop, so we have a default wallpaper which is being provided by a company, right? And that wallpaper will keep on updating, maybe monthly, maybe weekly, something
But still you have a
based on the
choice
company's
to right
policy.
click, go to settings and change that wallpaper. This is my company laptop and I changed it.
No, that is also settings get logged by the IT folks. So
Right.
anything like we can log over here from theme perspective where the user cannot change the theme.
I don't think so that is possible in the launchpad.
Okay. Okay.
Swami
Apart from
says
that,
that
I'm
it
not.
is getting stored in user profile. Swami, can you share the blog where you saw it is getting stored in user profile? Because as of now, I don't think it's getting stored in user profile because SU2, if I go to user profile to check, I will not be able to see any parameter which says that which theme is stored for this user. There's no theme parameter it seems here. अगर user profile में होता तो यहाँ दिखता, मुझे तो नहीं दिखता यहाँ पे. I don't see it.
Okay.
So that's an incorrect assumption, Swami, which you mentioned that it is in the user profile. If this would have been in the user profile, then I should see the profile parameter here for the same.
But I think what Swami is saying, if we maintain a parameter over here, then it will override the default settings. I'm not sure, but
That's
maybe
something
I
which
have.
I'll explain you later, the default parameter, which is used for theming. We will discuss in during the theme designer.
No, default parameters different, but overriding the default theme, I'm not sure, but I will check on that, and maybe I need to see if that is possible.
Next
But
question.
okay, next question is with respect to the technical catalog and the business catalog. We will be covering it later, or
Yes, we will cover.
okay. The third question, I'm not sure with respect to the software component and the application component when we see on the Fiori apps library. So when we go to the Fiori apps library, we see a software component as well and an application component as well. So what is the difference between both?
So if you go back to my previous unit where we already discussed what is a software component, what is application component. So you have the code, Above the code, you have packages. Multiple packages together make a application component, and then eventually multiple application component together make a software component. So please check back the previous class where I've explained it.
Okay, so by default, every application, if software component is installed, that means that application component is already there.
Yes.
Okay. Related to Fiori apps, and there is one more role, Anubhav, as we have just seen that we have used this SAP underscore UI2 underscore admin underscore 700. So with extension of underscore 700, there are a couple of rows like 700, 200, 300, 500. So what's the difference with why we are having so many different types of admin provided by SAP?
So SAP, when they got new versions, what they improved is they added more functionality, and those more and more, like theme designer was not there with the earlier version. It came later. Then the next feature came, then the next feature came. So these accordingly, when they evolved, they've got new stuff, and for that delta, that new delta, they keep adding delta roles, the delta functionality roles. So eventually that is why we have so many of them. So ideally the good practice is when you build a role, include all of those roles as a template role for your main role. So when you're creating the main role, in the menu you should inject here all the authorization options from the other role, from the other template role, so that you get full-fledged access of all the functionality actually. Okay.
Okay.
That is the
So
recommended.
even if, let's say that if we go with the latest role,
It will not give you complete functionality.
okay.
Yes. So you have to go here, SAP UI2 underscore admin underscore 705. So ऐसा करके उन सब का भी सारा एक साथ लाके आपको combine करना चाहिए. You should combine all of it together in this one role from other roles. So you see all the things from that role also should come here. So you see it shows me things.
Okay.
I can select add, and now you see some more things have been added here. So these are new stuff which has come from 750. So that also is now added to this role which I'm building for admin. This is a good practice.
Okay. So even if we create a full-fledged role, so how I can or where I can refer the functionality that I will be getting with that extra set of role?
That is very hard because it's so much of functionality, and I don't think so that anyone can cover that, because even I don't know. SAP is ocean. I don't know all the T codes in SAP. But in general, the best practice for you as a security consultant when you're developing, you should include all of the authorization which SAP is proposing for a administrator into single role.
I seen that like as you have activated this mass maintenance is suggestible option to go.
Yes. This is the new tool which replaced Launchpad Designer. We will talk about it in 2020 S/4HANA specifically.
But previously also from 16.10 version, I think there is some mass maintenance of Fiori app.
That tool is being improved now with 2020. Earlier it was only for backend catalogs, but now it also support everything. You need to wait for the right classes. Please allow me to proceed further classes so that then you can understand it right.
Okay. With related to this Fiori apps library, we are having a section where it is having related apps for that Fiori app. What does that mean? If we certain apps are having
we can do cross-app navigation from one Fiori app to another. That is why they are called related apps.
So is it means that from this Fiori app we have to activate that extra related Fiori app so that if user is accessing this Fiori app, they will be going to that related Fiori apps?
Yes.
Okay, so all related Fiori apps should be activated as well, along with the main Fiori app which is been activated.
Correct. That's why you have rapid deployment.
Okay. And one last thing I just wanted to know, as we have just activated the sales order fulfillment, if you can please open that one, because the screen what is being given on the SAP over here and what we are getting is a bit different. So that the product feature which SAP proposes and what we
get
is...
will not work right now because I don't have this full data point one in the system, and there is also a problem in the system services actually. So you can see
But
there is no
yeah,
data.
yeah, but we are not having the micro charts on the top. So
There are
then
two
they have
versions
given
of
this.
this app. So you see this one, and there is one more.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a business runtime, so see, they shouldn't be having a micro chart. Yeah. This shouldn't be having a micro chart. The first one ideally should have, but when they have given their screenshot and the product feature,
Mm-hmm.
when we propose it to the client says this is how they want it, and when we activate it, we are also surprised to see that it is not there. Then it is a contradict
You
what
can
SAP is.
report a ticket, I think, for this to SAP, and I think SAP will clarify
Okay.
because it is delivered by SAP.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm okay. Done my mind. Thanks, Anubhav.
Thanks. Anyone else? Any questions? Okay, so let's meet in the next session and we will look at the content structure of entire Fiori Launchpad, how the SAP delivered content is organized, and how exactly we can leverage, and how do we troubleshoot also the loading of a certain app. So you see there are a lot of apps which actually came in for the user, but they are like constantly loading. Yeah, yes, there are a lot of errors. How can we fix these errors? Why these errors? What's the problem? So we are going to learn all the troubleshooting step by step in coming classes. There's a lot to come. This is just the beginning of Fiori security. This is just the beginning of Fiori Launchpad. There's a lot to come, and I'm sure all your questions will be answered over a period of time. You guys need to allow me some time so that I can proceed and show you everything step by step rather than just jumping here and there between the topics to confuse. So we will go in a flow. With that, see you tomorrow.